everybody.
What's up?
Welcome back.
Preacher's Hour Podcast.
This is episode 36, I think.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
I really sometimes just like, dude, I can't believe we're still doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we hit episode 52, we're a year in. Like, dang. We're almost there.
That's crazy.
We're almost there.
Man.
Huh.
So, lots been going on. Our last episode was heavy.
Yeah, it was.
I can't say this one won't be. But I was like racking my brain trying to figure out, what to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh yeah, let me ask God. Because, this is his thing.
It's really crazy because a lot of times we go about life and we start getting into a routine of things.
Mm-hmm.
And we just start doing things. It's like, okay, now I'm used to this. And I think this is where God always tries to make us pause and be like, stop trying to get used to me. Like you will never get used to me.
Wow.
And as long as you are like attempting to make this a formula and not a journey, then you're always going to miss the mark.
Mm-hmm.
And I think times like that, it's when God repositions you to say, wait, hold on, let me calm down. Let me make sure like I'm still going the right direction. God, What do you have to say in this space, in this situation?
Man, so at first I was like, I actually said, what do I want to talk about today? And then I was like, wait, nope. I couldn't get anything. I'm like, wait, God, I forgot. Let me ask you. And he just like made my hand pick up my phone, go to YouTube, go to one of my playlists that I put like Christian type of videos on there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a video I'd saved, I don't know how many weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
It's like, oh yeah, friend. And I just unconsciously like clicked on it and I'm just like, man, this thing speaks to me so much. I watched it literally 3 times in a row.
That's crazy.
I ended it, boop, and I was just like, okay.
Are you serious?
Man. And I started taking notes as it was going. Kept rewinding parts, and then it got to the end, I was just like, boop, rewinding back, played it again. It was just like, every time I listened to it, there's so much in it. It's like 16 minutes long. And there's just so much in there. And the thing I got from it was family. This episode is going to be called Family. I think it's relevant to, again, what's going on right now in the world with all the social unrest and the battle against racism.
Yeah.
But I think it speaks to some other themes that we need to hear.
No doubt.
So
I was very touched and moved by the video.
Yeah. But you have kids.
Exactly.
So I knew this would hit you different than it hits me.
It was very... it was crazy because even like today, Tuesday, the 9th.
Yep.
The 9th day of June, I was posting on my social media page for my photography page. And like as I'm posting, like I keep looking at these pictures. I went to a birthday party and I photographed the birthday party.
Saw that.
And I'm just like, this is crazy. All these kids at this birthday party have no cares at all.
Wow.
They have no worries. They don't care about what they're going to eat, what they're going to wear. They're just out here playing, having fun, and they know they're going to go home. They know they're going to go home and eat. They know they're going to go home and sleep somewhere safe. They all have this understanding of like what it's like to be in a family with parents who love and care for them, and they literally live this way. They don't care. They just wake up and be like, "Hey, Dad, I'm hungry." And for me as a dad, like, go eat a Pop-Tart. Go to, what I'm saying? And they start to learn certain things as children that they have access to the refrigerator. They have access to the cabinet. They have access
you provide.
That I provide. But they never have to worry about, like, going in there and seeing something. Well, not true. I was going to say they don't have to worry about going in there and seeing something that they can't have. Well, no, there's lots of things that they can't have. But they never have to worry about going into the refrigerator and be like, oh, like, none of this food is mine. They don't have to ask all the time. And they're getting to the point where they're like making their own food. Like Casey made peanut butter jelly sandwiches yesterday.
What?
And I'm like, as a dad, I'm like super proud. And she cleaned up her mess. I'm like, let's go. And I think this is where we're headed as a family. Like listening to this, listen to that video, man. I'm just like, we have to keep putting ourselves in the posture of a child. Like as soon as we start looking at ourselves as the parent, then this is when we start to worry. This is when we start to like take anxiety upon ourselves and depression sets in because we are trying to do it and we're not looking to God to actually do it. So I positioned myself as a child just today, and then you show me that video and I'm like, okay, God, I see what you're doing here.
Let's go.
I see what you're doing here.
Man, so right off the bat, so I have a bunch of notes. So I'm just going to try to get through them here. So the first thing that I got from that video. He says, what shapes your child's view of God is how they view you. Right? So how our children see us shapes how they see God. Mm-hmm. And I have such an example of that with my wife. So like her family growing up, like she had two parents, mm-hmm. but they weren't very loving. They really didn't say those words, "Oh, I love you," or "I'm proud of you," or anything like that. Like it was just kind of cold mm-hmm. and distant. And to this day, at 26 years old, she sees God that way. And she's aware of it, but she's just like, it's hard for me to see that he's like loving.
Yeah. So try to take that thought of your childhood mm-hmm. and like do away with it so that mm-hmm. the new understanding will sit and rest. But that's almost impossible.
Yeah. I mean, because I think God designed it that way. Like,
yeah.
Like as a kid is coming up, and Francis says in the video, like if you're weak, they're going to see God as weak.
Yeah.
Like if you're distant, they're going to see God as distant. Mm-hmm. And so like it's literally the formative years of her life mm-hmm. were shaped with this idea of these people that she could actually see.
Yeah.
Right? And then now you have this God who you can't see, but you're trying to tell me that he's loving, but he gave me these parents.
Right. Exactly.
So it's like, how do I deal with that? How do I process that? And even last week, we're going through experiencing God, and this Unit 8 was super challenging. And she's just like, God seems like an authoritarian. He seems like a dictator.
Yeah.
Like people keep telling me how loving he is, but like I don't see it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, number one, I can't help you with that. I felt really powerless as a husband because I can't make you see God's love. I mean, I have a role to play. We're gonna get to that. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, it showed me how damaging parents can be. And it made me like, when I heard that video, I was just like, Selena and I are preparing to start having kids. And I'm just like, God, like, I don't want to damage my kids where they can't know you. And, and it messes up their relationship with you.
Yeah. I think even as a father, definitely like before becoming a father, this is something you want to think about mm-hmm. often and even like make up in your mind, like, okay, I'm going to tell my kids that I love them. I'm going to make sure I like hug and kiss my kids. Like they're going to see what love looks like. And I had to come to that resolution. Like my dad was fun, extremely fun, but he was extremely fun. And then he was angry. So like there was really like no middle. It was like we were having a bunch of fun.
The same way.
And then it was just like, you didn't do something right. And it was like, it was just all bad. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing that kind of messed me up was like my dad never like sat down and have a conversation with me. Like we never just like sat and just talked about random stuff. We just didn't have conversation like that. And I don't know where that, I'm sure it came from his father. Oh my gosh, God puts all this stuff together. Mm-hmm. So I was listening to Jackie Hill Perry's Instagram story, and she had talked about, she was talking about racism and like how we view the system today. And our views are based on what our parents showed us and didn't show us about the system. Their views were from their parents and so on and so forth, which brings us back to this very moment where our view of God is based upon my mother's view of God and how she treated us and how my father treated us and how her mother, this is where I am today. So I have to say, okay, I see the good that they did. I definitely see the good my dad did. He was a provider of providers. So I can never say like my dad wasn't there. Like he provided everything. We were poor and we didn't even know it. That's how awesome he was as a dad. I think I was like 17 years old when I realized that, like, wait, we don't have any money? What do you mean? Like, we have go-karts, we have dirt bikes, we have a swimming pool. And it's like, oh yeah, dad built all that with his hands. Even our swimming pool, like he was working for this company and they had an excavator and they let him keep the excavator at his house. So he's like, shoot, we have an excavator. Let's just go ahead and dig a hole in the back. And we built our own swimming pool. Crazy. I mean, we couldn't even do that today, but it's just like we just did that. And we just never knew we were poor. We thought we were rich. And this is the beauty of it. He was a good provider in such that we had no clue. We thought we were actually something we weren't. But then when we found out that he wasn't, a lot of things started to change in my mind. Because then it's like, well, why didn't you tell us we were poor? Well, what is that going to help you as a kid? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you start to
start worrying.
Yeah, you would start worrying. You would start like trying to figure things out, and you would never know. And I think you'd be better off not knowing. So he did the best he could. I think he honestly did. But the one thing that he lacked was genuine conversations with his son. Like, we didn't have conversations unless we were in trouble. This is what made me fear conversations with older people, because I'm like, if anyone says, hey, we need to talk, my first reaction is like,
uh-oh,
what the heck did I do?
What did
I don't
do?
remember. Like, even to this day, I mean, working at Honors Covenant Church, Pastor Phil will call me and be like, hey, when you get a chance, I want to meet you in the office and talk to you about some stuff. My heart drops. And I get there and he's like, yo, we just want to celebrate you and congratulate you for all the things that you guys have been doing with the youth. And I'm like, wait, this doesn't match up with what my dad showed me.
Wow.
And I think this is where we come in as fathers, or when you soon to be a father, and Josiah, when you soon to be father, well, not soon to be, but when you become a father, you'll start to see like, okay, I have to make decisions now in my life that is going to help mold and shape my children to know that God is love.
Yeah.
Like, we can say it all day, but if we don't show it, fam, it is hard. It's hard.
You said so much just now that we gotta
stop too much.
No, man, it was wonderful. So I'm like, first of all, let me say, my wife's family, great people. I'm not trying to like make them look bad, but I can see my wife knew how much money they had in the account and like all those different things, and it like really caused a lot of stress for her, and she still carries that stress to this day.
Oh, dang.
Right. And I think about my own dad, and for most of our childhood, my dad was great. He was a lot of fun. He would just randomly, just on a Tuesday, like, hey, pick us up from school, take us to Target and go, hey, pick a video game out. Like,
Oh, snap.
what? Let's go. Or pick a toy out. Just because he loved to give gifts. My dad to this day loves giving gifts.
Let's go.
It makes him feel so much joy. So it was cool to have him like that. But then he would get angry. He would come home from work. He hated his job, and so it would cause. You could just see it in his face. I remember he'd just be walking up to the door, frowning. I'm like, Dad, you good? He's like, yeah. What? I'm like, you're frowning. He's like, oh, sorry. Like, he didn't even know.
Dang.
And he would just be like, he would just come home and just be mad and just be like telling us to do all this stuff. So he was like very dictatorish.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, college that high school, but like later high school into college, we were able to like just have conversations. To this day, like, we can just talk about anything. But it wasn't always like that.
Right.
And so I always felt, and he would just constantly be telling us all the time, like, you know, his favorite passage of scripture was children obey your parents in Ephesians. And it to this day, I'm just realizing this right now, that I feel like I'm not good enough ever, because it seemed like that with my dad and my mom sometimes. Like I felt like we were good kids, and he'd always be like, you guys just ain't doing right, and you're ungrateful. Yeah,
and
you're supposed to obey your parents and honor your parents, and you're just not cleaning up after yourselves. And I'm just thinking, like, all my friends are horrible to their parents.
Dude,
you could have gotten way worse kids than us. And I remember one time, this is what changed it. Like, he came in, like, went off on us and my brother for like not doing something, and I had it. I was in high school, and I went up to him in tears.
Oh, you told me this story.
And I was just like, I don't even know what came over me. I
The
probably
Holy
still
Spirit.
alive right now. And I was just like, you make us feel like we're the worst kids in the world, and there's way worse. And I just went out, and he was just like, oh, my bad. Gave me a hug, and from that moment forward, everything was different. But it's just like, it affected how I see God. To where I'm like constantly, like, sometimes I have to, like, I even act like that with my wife, where it's just like, I feel like I'm never going to be good enough. I have to constantly trying to earn your approval.
Right.
And I do that in almost every area of my life, even as a preacher. I'm always like, okay, I got to impress all the other people in the room so they think I'm a good preacher. And it's like,
or
why?
so they care. Yeah. Which is crazy, because like God's character is not based on anything that we do. Like, if that was the case, everything we do would be
in spite of what we do.
Exactly. Like, when I think about even like salvation and all that kind of stuff, like, Jesus was sent here not because we were the greatest people. Like, we didn't get a gift because we were the man. They're just such
Let's
swell.
Reward them.
Let's reward them with eternal life.
Yeah.
Let's just give it. No, it was like, dude, they are headed to destruction. And if I don't intervene as a father, they're all going to die. I'm gonna be separating me for forever. I saw this Instagram post. And it said religion is like this. I messed up. My dad's going to kill me. And it said, but relationship is like this. I messed up. I need to call my dad.
Woo!
Like that put the whole thing in perspective for me. It's like, when I was a kid,
That's crazy.
I would get in trouble or find myself in a bad situation. My dad was the last person I wanted to call. Therefore, now as an adult, God is the last person that I call.
Wow.
Like, I always pray as a last resort. Like, because the way my dad was, is like, if you did something bad, you gotta
fix it
like,
before he finds out,
or at least like try to figure out a way to make it not as bad as it was when it happened. So like we always ran from that, and I think even now, when we have our middle child, Gabby, love her to death, but man, she is a child. Like, so like sometimes like she'll do something and it'll be catastrophic, but I don't want her to ever feel like Dad's gonna kill me. Like what I did, Dad's gonna kill me. I want her to be like, dang, I really messed up and I need some help. Like, Dad, I broke the pickle jar and all the pickles and the glasses everywhere. I don't want her to try to fix that before I get there, because she can cut herself. She can.
Wow.
It's way worse. But I want her to be like, Dad, I need help. I want that to happen without the fear of like initial punishment, and then like we'll fix the problem.
You gonna get this punishment?
Why was you in the refrigerator in the first place taking the pickles out?
Oh man, that is such a sermon, Brandon. I'm telling you,
man.
Wow,
I'm telling you that hearing, like seeing things, and I'm getting to this point more and more as we do this podcast, is that God is always speaking and I'm the one not listening. And then we do this podcast, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I wasn't paying attention this whole week. The whole week. I saw that last Tuesday. Here we are.
Oh man.
But like that just makes sense, and how we should be as parents. If you are a parent, if you're trying to become a parent, you have to have the idea that you want your children to call upon you in times of need, not out of fear, but knowing that you can fix it. So when they get older and they depend on God and not you anymore, then it's like, I need to go to God because I know God can fix this, and He's not trying to punish me.
Man, so my next point says, God as ultimate authority, who is also our best friend. Francis talked about that, and it's just like, what a crazy concept.
I can't even.
Because like we don't have anything else in life. Usually those two things are opposite. If you're like my ultimate authority, like there's fear, I have to serve you or whatever, but we're not cool with each other. And then I have my best friend I can go to, I can talk to, but I ain't got to listen to. Putting those two
things together?
But like they're united in God, where He is our ultimate authority. So there is a little bit of fear, right? And it's healthy fear, and it keeps me from going way off.
Right.
So I don't want to upset. Just like there's a lot of things I did not do
because I didn't want my dad.
Because I am not trying to get my parents mad at me. I'm like, they'll kill me. I ain't doing that. But then to have God as also at the very same time my best friend, to where I can go to Him if I need Him. I can confide in Him. I can spend time with Him. I enjoy spending time with Him. Right? I mean, like, there's a lot of times that I really enjoyed spending time with my parents.
Yeah.
I remember going to the car wash with my dad, like all the time, going to red carpet car wash. He'd get us some free popcorn and maybe buy us a candy bar, and we'd just kick it. And he would my dad was always teaching us stuff, just all the time. I think that's why I'm a teacher. Like, I get it from him. He's always like, oh, you see how they do this? Like, why do you think it's... And he was just always teaching. And it's just like, as I'm saying this out loud, guys, I'm like, oh, snap, God, that was you. Because, like, that's how God is. He's always teaching me the whole time. And the more I hang out, the more I listen to him, the better I'm going to get. But, like...
That's so true.
We have to try to be that, demonstrate that for our kids. Obviously, like, it's a lot harder for us as earthly parents because
we don't see everything.
First of all, we're not best friends.
No.
Not for the first, like, 18 years of your life. Okay? If you wild out, I'm about to... But I ain't one of your little friends.
But I think that's the authoritative, like, struggle. It's like, am I my child's best friend? Not in the sense that we think of. Like, when I think of, like, best friend, I think about someone who's there for you whenever you need help.
Wow.
When I think of best friend, I don't think about the person that you just, like, party with or the person that you have fun with. Like, that's a friend. But a best friend is like...
when things are not good.
Yeah. Like, okay, like, Jeff, you're my best friend. And there are things that I won't do in front of you because I'm like, nah, like, Jeff, because I know Jeff's going to have I know he'll have something to say. I know that he'll, like, correct me. I know that he'll put me in my place. But there's some things I'll do with other people, and I'm like, yeah, I can do this. Jeff ain't here. But if Jeff was here, I'd be like, nah, heck no, y'all tripping. But if I'm honest, this is where like we draw a line. Even with our kids, we have to understand that like best friend doesn't mean like I'm a pushover. Best friend doesn't mean I agree with you. A best friend means, all right, I actually care about you. What you're finna do, this is stupid. Like I had kids who went to church in my growing up, and like they were like complete squares, and I'm like, man, let's go do this. What? Are you crazy? And then we have church in the morning. And I'm like, and wake up and go to church. Like, we can't do that. But they were the type of friends who were there. Like, and then when you did the bad stuff, the cool thing was they didn't snitch. They didn't snitch you out. But if someone asked, they're telling the truth. They're not like, I'm not going to be the one to go tell on you. But if someone asked me, what did they do? I'm telling the truth. Yeah. And I'm going to tell them I wasn't in it. So yesterday they like what? Oh, but I think that's the idea that we kind of have to fix in our own minds. Like, what is a best friend? Like, is a best friend just someone who agrees with you all the time and is like-minded and doesn't try to help you grow? No, that's not a best friend. That's an acquaintance. I don't even know. It's not even a friend, to be honest. If you're not trying to help me grow, you're just a hindrance. Yeah, you're not actually my friend. Wow. So I think that's a little bit deeper than we let on.
So my next point that I got from Francis.
My next point that I got from Francis.
No, it's not my next point.
Francis Chan's next point.
Yeah, Francis's next point was, he says, God cares a lot about human relationships. They are sacred. And then he brought up the last verses of the Old Testament, the very last verse of the Old Testament in Malachi. So let me try to read it.
Oh, it was the last two verses? Yeah. It's crazy.
Okay, here it is. I can't believe this is in here. This has been here the whole time? Nobody edited this much? So it says, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the great and awesome day of the Lord comes. And he will turn the hearts of fathers to their children and the hearts of children to their fathers, lest I come and strike the land with a decree of utter destruction. So I'm like, hold up. So you're going to send...
Let me see if that's
it's in there, bro. I'm telling you, it's really in there.
Yeah, it's in there.
It's really in there, guys.
It's in there.
So he's going to send Elijah, which he did in the form of John the Baptist, right? But like, think about the mindset here, what he's saying. So I'm sending a prophet before the day of the Lord comes, before this great day, the Messiah comes, the day of judgment, all this ultimate stuff is coming. Right. And the point of this person coming is to fix the relationship between children and their parents so that I don't destroy you. Wait, hold up. The thing that's keeping us from being destroyed is the relationship between parents and children. Children? What? That's the last verse in the Old Testament? That's the last thing we hear from God before Jesus comes.
That's crazy.
A couple 100 years go by. Wait a minute.
That's why.
That's that big a deal to you, God?
That's crazy. I think about how like if I think this is in Proverbs, I think it is, where it says like a child left to its own devices will bring utter destruction to the family or to the mother, something like that. And I think about that verse, and it's like God was trying to like let us know that the relationship between parents and children was messed up way before any of us were here. Like it goes all the way back to the garden, and it was that relationship was broken, but it was established by God, and God had a plan for that relationship. If we are to be even close to like getting this thing right, it has to depend on the relationship He established in the beginning between man and woman, and then between them and their seed, and they can teach their children how to obey God, which was the whole idea. That God didn't come back down from heaven to teach Cain and Abel. No, it was like, Adam, I told you what to do. You tell them. They tell their children. They tell, and somehow we got way off on that. Man. And now we're teaching our kids some nonsense.
But it's just like, it says the hearts of them. I'm going to turn their hearts back to each other, so that way I won't bring destruction. So, man, I think that's such a challenge to me, because I'm like, okay, do I really value that relationship? Ooh. Do I see it the same way that God clearly sees it? It's a big deal.
Yeah.
The way parents and children look at each other and like love each other. And Francis was saying like children won't just be worried about themselves. They won't be selfish. We talked about this before with John. I think self-centered versus God-centered.
Yeah.
And it's like my parents have to care about me and I have to care about them. And like God really cares about that.
For real.
About our relationship with each other. And I think about all the people who have really bad relationships with their parents or with their kids. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think we talk about, you know, children obey your parents and parents, you know, whatever. And we're like, look, even if your parents suck, they're still your parents. You got to honor them. I feel like we got that down. Yeah. Church has that concept down. But like, that's not good enough for God.
No.
Like, okay, well, you know, we're tolerant of it. No. I need y'all to like be about each other, like love each other.
Yeah, both ways. Mm-hmm. Both ways. Like your children should respect you and honor you, you know, regardless of how you act. But like that's really difficult. And the idea is like if you honored your children and you respected them, then you could keep that going. And the truth is like it is up to the parent to start that relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's not up to the kid. Like, well, my kid behaves and I'll behave. Well, that's stupid. What? Like, you sound dumb. If you are going to instill anything into your children, like, you have to be the one to instill this into your children.
Man, I'm glad God don't do that with us.
It'd be
I'll behave when they behave. Well, God is misbehaving out here.
He'd be out here wilding out. Everybody be dead. But we have to understand that, like, our not instillment, I don't know what the word is, but what we portray to our children is what is going to come out of them. Like we can't pretend that like our actions are being hidden or like what we do is going to be somehow covered up in their eyes. No, they see everything. Mind you, your kids see everything you do and they may not understand it, but like because they see you do it, they're going to be like, okay, that's what I should do. This is what I should do to get whatever my parents got. And they start to practice that. So if you are a rude and mean person, not even if it's not even to your own children. If you're rude and mean, if you're not generous to those who are in need, your children are going to grow up with that same mentality. They're not going to give like if my grandmother used to always like give money to this old lady who was homeless, who lived like down the street from her. And because I saw that, That's always have compassion on old people who they may not be homeless, but they look homeless or whatever. I have compassion because my grandmother showed me that.
Wow.
Like all the time. Now, if she was the type of person to be like, look, you don't give money to those people. Guaranteed, when I got older, I would be like, they can't do it because I have no reference point. My reference is the fact that I got to see my grandmother do that, and I saw the effect that it had on that older lady. Like she even came to church a gang of times. She would show up to the church, and the church was not close to my grandma's house by no means. So however she got there, it was a journey. But to see her come in, to see my grandmother have like a relationship with this woman, to talk to this woman was phenomenal. So now, for me living in the hood, I'm like, I see people who are struggling. I'm like, man, how are you? What's your day like? What is it like to walk in your shoes? And just like be there with them.
Bro, that is so big in how they see God.
Oh, for sure.
Because the reason why that lady comes to church and believes there's a God is because of your grandmother and how she was treated. Well, this is how this lady has this compassion on me. And she goes to this church place. Like, I need to be there. Like, I could stop at like a practical level. These people will take care of me physically. But then it's like, well, there's clearly something here, like this a being or something that's making them be like this. Like that's how people are going to get God. When we say, oh, you know, oh man, preach the gospel. Like, no, live it. Like live it. People are going to see God with how we are, bro. And Francis talked about orphans a lot, and I realize now after watching that video why there are so many verses that talk about taking care of orphans.
Yeah,
man,
that mug messed me up, bro.
The statistics that he said, I think I have it memorized as I watched the video so many times. But people who grow up in orphanages are 4 times more likely to become prostitutes. They are 40 times more likely to be incarcerated, and they are 500 times more likely to commit suicide.
500. That's ridiculous.
Like, just from missing that relationship, with your parents.
That's a huge statistic. Like you can't just be like, oh, no, that should literally mess with your soul when you hear something like that.
And I'm only talking to my Christian brothers and sisters here.
There's something that we need to do. Explain the story though about like what Francis had done in Africa, and then like how it got to this point.
Man, so he went to Africa and 20 years ago, and he saw the poverty, so he goes back to his church. He sells his house. He tells the church, we got to sell a bunch of things. And his whole church uses the money to build orphanages and schools and hospitals and stuff in Africa. Wonderful. Last year, he goes back to Africa. Mm-hmm. And he goes to the orphanages, and he's like, he meets all these people. He meets this one girl named Ruth, this orphan. And she was telling him, like, yeah, the orphanages is great. It has all these resources and food and education and all this stuff. But I would give it up to live in the slums just to have the love of my mother and my father, like just to have that relationship with my parents. I'd rather be poor and have nothing but have my parents than have all the stuff in the world. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, and Francis showed her a picture of him and his daughter, one of his daughters, and the girl just starts crying, and she's like, this was like my dream.
Yeah.
Like if I could just have this, like a father who's like loves me, then I wouldn't need anything else.
Because the truth is they don't know. So it's not in the fact that like their parents, so like in the video it talked about how their parents like gave them up because they thought they'd have a better future.
4 out of 5 orphans, their parents are still alive. 4 out of 5, 80% of orphans,
which makes them not orphans.
Yeah,
they're not orphans. Like they've been deemed orphans, but they're not orphans. And so weird how like how humans, like we think we know best, we don't know anything. Wow. Like we don't know best, and we have to just lean on the fact that we don't know best. Like giving up your kids sounds like a good idea because you can give them a better life. But we even have one of our students, Luke at the Campus Life Center. He is a kid who talks about it all, like really all like regularly. Like I wish I knew my mom so I could like ask her why she gave me up. Like I'm not. I have the idea that she gave me up because she wanted me to have a better life, but like,
and he knows her now. Like
they have a relationship now.
Yeah,
but like when
even then, it's like
it was difficult because he was just thinking like, what happened? Like, what? Like obviously I didn't do anything on the baby. Like there's nothing I could have done. But like you must have had a reason for doing this. But if you never meet your biological parent, you'll never know, and you'll start thinking, dang, they didn't want me.
So why would God want me?
Exactly. Which would turn around and say, that's not the truth. They gave you up because they tried to give you a better life. But you can't understand that.
What's our concept of a better life?
That too.
I mean,
is it materialism?
That's what we think. That's what we think. It's success. It's like, I mean, like, so we don't have the same problem in America. Our problem is kind of on the other side of the coin, where we have too much resources, right? To where it's like, oh, my kid is involved in like 18 different activities. Their schedule is full all the time. Yeah. Both parents are working like crazy, making all this money, having this big house, having all this material stuff, all this quote unquote success.
Yep.
And their kids are empty.
Completely.
Because like I just want my dad or mom to notice me or to like spend time with me or to love me. It's like, well, of course I love you. I bought you all this stuff. I put you in all these things that make you successful, and I'm paying for your schooling and cars and all that stuff.
That's not a relationship.
I don't care. That's not a relationship.
Like I don't. So sad. I don't even know. Like I told you in the beginning of this podcast, I didn't even know we were poor. It wasn't because like my parents like just gave me a bunch of stuff, but like I think there was a level of my kids need to know that there's a relationship. Like me and my dad never had a conversation, but he did things that like showed me that he cared. My mom on the other hand was like someone who like told us that she loved us. Like she was like there for us because she was a stay-at-home mom, so she didn't really have a choice. So like we knew, and then she would even tell us like, you know, your dad loves you. Like yeah, but he never says it. But the thing is, we had a relationship, and I promise you, I couldn't give that up for nothing. I think about like other kids who've told me about their upbringing and all the stuff that they had, and I'm just like, yeah, keep that. I don't want that because like the relationship that I had with my mom, the relationship that I had with my dad, and the relationship I had with my grandparents, like I couldn't give that up for nothing. Man. Like it was, if nothing else, formative. Like it gave me the mindset of like what it looks like to care for other people. Like seeing what it looked like to care for people, like even for us, like we struggled a lot. growing up, like we thought we had everything, but we just didn't know. But we had to move in with my grandparents twice. And I remember like my dad being very very nervous to ask my grandfather, "Hey, can we stay? Can we come back and stay with you?" He was just like, I mean, as a man, it's got to be weird. But my grandfather never made my dad feel lesser than. He was like, "You don't have to ask. Like, just bring your stuff. Get over here. Hurry up." Like, I got to be with the grandbabies. That was a relationship that I got to see growing up, And if I didn't have parents, if I had parents that just gave me everything, I would just be like, I would start to think that love and stuff would be hand in hand. Like if someone doesn't give me things, that means you don't love me. That's not true. It's not
There's
true
a
at
lot
all.
of people like that, man.
Crazy. It messes me because even like one of the students that I had a long time ago, I told you about her earlier. Her name was Najee. She had no idea. Like, if she thought that like if you didn't give her stuff, if you didn't like give her attention, it meant you didn't love her. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't care for her. And then when you gave her something that she didn't think she deserved, she couldn't even receive it. She was like, "Why are you doing this?" Well, I don't know. Like, because I didn't. I mean, as a staff worker, I didn't want to tell her because I love you because it's just weird.
Yeah.
But I'm like, because like you're a human and like you are worth this. You're worth more than this. But like this is a way I can show you that like you matter. And like we would give her gifts. We would have like these things called super tickets where they would use this to like buy stuff from the store. And like I would just literally like just shoot her like 20 super tickets out of nowhere. She'd be like, "Why did you give me this? Why did you give this to me?" I don't know, not because I feel like I need to show you something. I need to show you that like you don't have to do anything to have love. You don't have to do anything to earn. You don't have to earn this. Like just because you are here you go. And I think that's what helps students. That's what helped her at least. Like she started to realize I need to be loved because I am a creation of God's, not because of what I can do or what I can't do. Like, don't give me love because you're having sympathy for me. Show me love because I'm a human.
Yeah.
And I think many kids need to learn that lesson. And as parents, we have to show them like it's not about the stuff. Just love them and be relational with them because they're God's children, not even yours.
The quote from Francis was, "It's not about resources, it's about relationship."
Come on.
And I want to shift this to a broader audience here. So we've talked a lot about relationship between children and parents, which is obviously very important, as we said. I definitely have a greater heart for orphans now.
Yeah.
But it also goes to the other vulnerable categories, right? Of immigrants, widows, the poor, right? And just your neighbor.
Amen.
Right? So bringing it to what's going on in society right now. I think George Floyd's funeral was today in Texas. It wasn't today?
I don't know, because I saw it.
I think it wrapped up today.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because I saw it a couple of days ago. The little memorial, but I don't know if it was a funeral.
It was memorial, and it ended today. I listened to it on the news and this morning, and it's just been very interesting. Just to be on social media the last 15 days. That's how long it's been.
It's been 15 days already?
15 days. And I literally turned on my Xbox, turned on FIFA. Black Lives Matter. And I saw your post, Call of Duty did that. I mean, I'm literally like everywhere I go. We went to this baby shower Sunday for Audrey and Amundsen.
Oh, yeah.
And we're driving up Bryant, and there's like this like pipe on the side of the road. And it had BLM, like hashtag BLM, like spray painted on it. I was just like, in Bryant? Copper River?
That's
like,
crazy.
This is insane. Like, it's been really interesting. Like, I feel like for the first time, I feel seen.
Bro, get out of my life. I just said that in my staff meeting today. That's crazy.
Wow. But it's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
Because my fear is that it's the new thing to do.
Right.
It's like a fad right now. Like, I don't know if people like are genuine. Like, I want to see what this looks like in 6 months.
Yeah.
Like, are people still going to be...
In 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. That's the scary thing. But it's definitely. Like, it's God he loves people through people.
That's good.
Okay. So our relationship with all people, not just our flesh and blood, not just my biological family, right?
Yeah.
Because relationships are sacred. Yeah. Like the first thing that God created with humans was a relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? He creates a family. Like family was massive. That's why Satan attacked it.
Yeah.
Because he saw the power. If I can mess this up, I can destroy the world.
Yeah.
Which he did. And unfortunately, because love is a choice and we have free will, we have the ability to hurt each other. Mm-hmm. I think that's what you've seen. This whole, we have the ability to put our necks on our knees on people's necks for almost 9 minutes. And because of that, because of the ability to hurt each other, God has in his amazing planning has, okay, I know people need this. I know people need a family.
Yeah. Whatever
it looks like. So that's why I'm telling you, Israel, care about the widow and the orphan and stuff, and the poor and the immigrant. Like, people who don't have family, we as believers are supposed to take over that.
Oh, wow.
We're supposed to fill that void.
What?
Like, nobody should be without family.
That's crazy.
On the planet. Nobody. If there are Christians on this earth, that means everybody should have family in some way.
But not like family in word, like family in like deed. Like I think about, and I'm saying this because I'm not even there yet, but I want to be. Like in my heart, I really do want to be. It's like I want to be able to like take in people into my home and be like, no, you can stay here, or like build something. Like if I can't have them like in my home, build. Like I want to be able to say like, no, like I'm not saying family because out of formality. No, I mean that. Like, what do you need? The same way that I would care for my cousin in need, the same way I would care for you, Jeff, if you were in need, Josiah, if you were in need, the same way I would care for you all. I want to do that for other people, not because of what they can give me, but because honestly, if I was in need, this is how I would want someone to treat me. I think about this every time. God, I think about this every time I'm driving down the street. Driving down the highway and I see someone who's broken down. I think about, dude, man,
it gets me every time.
Because the truth is, like, if you were broken down on the side of the road, would you want someone to stop and just at least say, "Hey, do you need help?" Even if AAA was on their way, whoever, you would still want someone to be like to check on you. And then anytime that someone's done it for me, I automatically think they got to be a Christian. In my head, I'm like, there's no way, because people just don't stop for other people.
Yeah.
Like we literally just drive past. I saw a car on fire one time, and I was just like. And just kept driving. I'm like, the fire department would be there. What if no one called? What if everybody's doing the same thing as me?
Yeah.
If everyone did the same thing I did, the fire department wouldn't be called. If there was someone in that car, they would be dead because I'm not taking action. And is it an inconvenience? Yeah. But to who? And in what realm? Is it an inconvenience in my life, or is it an inconvenience to God's doing in my life? If God's doing something in my life, I need to move in that direction. Like, I'm getting to the point where I'm getting frustrated with myself and seeing how much I play into the regular movements of life. Like how much I play into really Satan's game.
Yeah.
He wants me to be disconnected from people so much so that if I see my brother laying on the side of the street, that I just cross over and pass him by. Satan doesn't want us to be good Samaritans.
That's why he was happy about the quarantine.
Oh man,
yeah, I can finally get him away from each other.
I'm gonna break this thing up, and it's gonna be terrible. But like the people in the churches and the Christians who banded together, I guarantee you they're more family now than they ever were. Like we spent countless hours in quarantine together, and it's like, we've even broken some quarantine rules because we're just like, I can't do this. Like I can't stay in isolation too much longer. I'm gonna lose my mind. So please open up your home. Please open up some. I'll stand outside the window and talk to you.
Man, literally, Uncle Rod and Nicole were like, you guys are staying out. We did that.
Yeah.
We literally went to their house. They opened the window. We were outside on the front porch, and they were in the office. We were just talking. Like, man, we missed this.
Yeah.
And at the baby shower, seeing Amy, she ran up and like gave us like the biggest hug. And she was like, "Oh, it feels so good to give hugs again,
dude."
And it was just like, even like the owners of the house, they're this white couple, and they were just like,
What's going on?
Why are you guys, y'all know each other like that? We were just like, oh, it's so good to see you. Like just hugging people that look different from us, like that family. Like, man.
It's so much deeper than that, man.
Family reflects God. Like, if we have poor family relationships, how can we see God as our Father? And I like you said, like I feel guilty for like giving into Satan's game, because it's like, how am I helping people see that God is real if I'm not treating them like family?
Yeah.
Because like that has so much power. That's why Jesus said, like, if they would just be one, like we're trying to like rack our brains. I don't know if we are actually as a universal church, but
we're trying to forget about it.
Like, we don't have to convince people about God. If we just are better family members, like, you're not going to have a choice. Like, why are you acting so nice to me?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Well, because I serve a God that loves you.
Fam, would you think about Francis Chan selling his house?
Man.
Does that not think you'd be like, what the heck is wrong with you? You sold your house to build an orphanage for some people in Africa? Fam, you don't even know those people. Well, I don't, but I know their struggle. I know that they're hurting, and I know that God has called me to live radically the same way Jesus left heaven. This is where I want people to really understand. Jesus left heaven. I'm like, do we understand that? Like the fullness of Jesus saying, you know what? God, you're going to kill him? Yep, I'm going to kill him. Every single one of them. All right, fine. I'll go down there. What, you're going to leave paradise? You're going to leave my presence? You're going to leave to live in a body that is limited, and then you're going to go, you know, when you go there, it's not just going there. You're going to go there and you're going to die. It's like you're going to be killed by the very people you created. Yeah, got it. I'm on my way. That kind of radical transformation is where I'm like, dude, Christians, we have lost it. Like, there's only maybe like 18 Christians out here who do stuff like that. Like, in the whole planet. I'm just like, no one is like really giving their life over to God. We say that my life is not my own. To you I belong. I give myself. BS. Like, the truth is, you're not doing it. Wow. I'm not doing it. I want my comforts. I want my stuff. Bro. I want to live in a house as dope as Jeff's. Like, I want this.
Bro, I'm sitting here like, I got a house, and I'm like, would I really be willing to sell it to help people? Would I really be willing to take people in? Or would I come up with excuses of like, oh, no, well, you know, I'll give you $20, but you ain't staying in here. And I'm at 1 John, I think we'll end on this somehow. 1 John 4.
Oh, no, don't read this.
I got to. I'm going to read the whole, starting at verse 7.
All right, this has been Preacher's Hour podcast.
So, beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God. When you're born, you become part of a family, by the way, and knows God. Anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. In this, the love of God was made manifest. It means it was made clear and obvious. We could see it among us, that God sent his only Son into the world, family, so that we might live through him. In this is love, not that we have loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. Beloved, if God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God. If we love one another, God abides in us, and his love is perfected in us. By this we know that we abide in him and he is in us, because he has given us of his Spirit. And we have seen and testified that God has sent his Son to be the Savior of the world. Whoever confesses that Jesus is the Son of God, God abides in him and he in God. So we have come to know that and to believe that the love of God that God has for us. God is love, and whoever abides in love abides in God. Wow. And God abides in him. By this is love perfected with us, so that we may have confidence for the day of judgment. When we have to get our hearts of the children and parents right when judgment comes. Wow, the Bible's so connected. Because as he is, also are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, for fear has to do with punishment. Wow. Man, Shut up, Bible. And whoever fears has not been perfected in love. Here's a big part. We love because he first loved us. If anyone says, I love God and hates his brother, he is a liar. For he who does not love his brother whom he has seen cannot love God whom he has not seen. Come on, man.
So the crazy thing about that last part is, as you were talking, you were making the connection between family. Mm-hmm. When it says brother, it's not talking about physical brother. Yes. It's not talking about proximity brother. It's not even just talking about your neighbor. It's talking about humans.
Man.
Like, how can you say that you love God and there are humans you don't care about?
Any.
Whether
they are your black brothers and sisters, or whether they're police officers, like Christians.
Donald Trump. Like,
thank you.
It does not matter. You, as a Christian, have no right to hate anyone. And I want to make it clear about this word hate. Hate does not have to do with your words towards a person. Mm-hmm. That's not what hate is. It's the way you think about a person.
Mm-hmm. That's literally what Jesus is talking about when he says, like, don't murder.
Yeah.
And then if you have, we're thinking, well, I've never killed anybody. If you have even thought of somebody a little bit less than you have killed them.
In your own heart.
You have lived. That's how you get to murder. If I can see you as not who you actually are, which is an image bearer,
then I can kill you.
Then that means I've already killed you.
The same way we see bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
see a bug as less than human.
So
I have no problem killing it. Like, if I can see a person, oh, you're not as smart as me, you're not as good as me, you're not as successful, whatever the case may be. Like, if I can drive by somebody on the side of the road, I'm calling myself out here, and I see some poor person, I see them as less, I judge them, oh, they ain't got no job, they're on drugs, whatever the case may be, I have just killed that person.
Yep.
And I can't say that I love God if I don't love them.
Not at all. There's no way. So we got to, dang, we're all out of time.
All right, Francis.
I think the challenge for me, and I just hope that I could just be more like God, be more like Christ, be a better brother. I want to be able to see people and, like, take time out of my quote unquote busy schedule during, well, shelter in place is over, but still, like, during this time, I want to, like, do something radical, like, not for the sake of doing something radical, but because I want to see. We talked about the God-sized, but everything I'm still doing to this day is still Brandon-sized.
Wow.
I want to get to a position. This image is coming into my head, and God, I love you, but sometimes I'm just like, oh, don't do that. I was on my way back from Patient's house, and I was getting onto the 168 it was 168 and Peach Avenue, and I'm making a left onto the freeway. And on the side of the freeway, there's a gang of tents. There's some canopies, but, like, you can see there's a community of people right there who are marginalized, disenfranchised, probably distraught, probably like, man, how are we gonna make it? And I'm just like, dude, I don't even have the unction or the urge to just go there with maybe some chicken sandwiches, enough for everybody. Buy them, go there, sit and talk with the people.
Wow, not just drop the box off
and then
drive
bounce.
Away.
No, like, hey guys, my name's Brandon. Y'all hungry? Oh yeah. Hey, can we, like, get everybody around? Think about what that would do to a person. I mean, just if I was in that position, and for months no one's ever stopped. For months no one's ever came by, and I get there and I go, and all I have is a bag of sandwiches and the gospel, and I sit down and I'm telling these people, yeah, man, I was just coming by, and, like, I thought about this a couple days ago, and then I just say, I'm just going to do it to see what God wants to do. And now I'm here, and I get to meet this person, meet that person. And what would that do to that community?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
man,
even if only one person in that community came back, like the leper did, out of the 10 lepers, only one came back and thanked God. If one person came back and was like, yo, I want what you have. I want to be able to do this for other homeless people. Fam, I would lose my mustard. Like, I'm like, dude, this is what God has called us to. And if we are to be like Christ, Jesus was in proximity to leper camps. Jesus touched leopards. Like, what? Who are we?
You got to know him.
Yeah, who are we? You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to, if we're gonna model it out. Like, I think even the apostles did a good job. Like, especially like Paul, like, going to people who were completely disenfranchised, people who didn't have anything, and sometimes I had nothing. I just me and the gospel. Sometimes
Peter and silver and gold have none, but
But what I do have I given to you in the name of Jesus Christ, stand up and walk. We don't even try that.
Wow.
We don't even try it. I mean, I'm just like, I'm messed up because I'm thinking about myself. Like, no, to you listeners, I'm not talking to y'all right now. Me and God are having a conversation on a microphone, and it's messing me up. So I want to be held accountable to that, and I want to just go. I want to just do it and just see what the Lord is going to do through my obedience in that way. And hopefully, when I do it, if I do it, I got to be honest. Like my flesh is giving me reasons why I should not, and God is telling me who's gonna go. It's like, are you gonna go? Like I don't know if he's like specifically telling me, but he's looking for someone.
Who shall I send?
Am I gonna say send me, or I'm gonna be like,
well, if you go, hit me up, man.
All right. See, and that's what I'm talking about. Because like when another podcast, love y'all.
Man, this was God was talking.
Sure.
Thank you, God, for just still speaking, like you said, still speaking.
Man.
So we pray that people hear this, whoever hears it, I don't care if one person hears it. I pray that it speaks to you. And go on YouTube and look up, what is the name of that video? Let me figure it out real quick, people.
Yeah. It's a life.
It's called My Cup Overflows.
Francis
Chan, My Cup Overflows. It came out 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, we still try if we can put a link in the bio or something.
Yeah. For
y'all to check that out.
All right, y'all. We love y'all. See y'all on the next one, and just take care.
Peace.